Dr. Suarez, good to see an actual medical professional in a lab coat instead of these self-proclaimed experts masquerading with them. I made a lot of jokes about that. Um, so today we're going to talk about one of the major issues that we see with a lot of complaints from people that they're tired, fatigue, and there's a lot of studies on this. It's impacting people on their mental health, their production at work, productivity at work. Can you give us a little idea of some of the general causes that we see, the cause of fatigue?
Well, I mean, I see so many different causes of fatigue. I mean, we all know about allergies, we know seasonal allergies, but one of the allergies that we really don't talk about are food allergies, food intolerances, food sensitivities, which are
That's
not
becoming,
necessarily
yeah,
allergies,
yeah.
but there's a difference between an allergy, a sensitivity, and an intolerance. So that's something that we definitely should talk about. I'll go in depth in another video because I could probably spend an hour just on that conversation.
Yeah, I don't think most medical professionals really deal with that, and that's a major issue. They don't focus on these things.
Well, we all know that the gut is our largest organ in our body that deals with absorption, right? So if you're having a problem in your gut, and that's connected to every system in our body. So if you're affecting the gut, you're affecting everything. So that's a major problem, and we all have heard the term leaky gut syndrome, where basically your intestinal cells swell and the bindings that they have are not tight anymore and things leak inside instead of going through the cell for absorption. They leak inside and causes disastrous symptoms in our body. So it's
Been
definitely.
reading a lot more studies on that, and a lot of people are having digestive issues or absorption, right? Nutrient absorption issues besides also related to that.
Well, we think of obesity as a overeating problem, but actually obesity is a malnutrition problem,
Interesting.
which is another cause of fatigue, which is diabetes, right? We're not able to get that sugar into our cells. It's a resistance to that insulin. The whole purpose of the hormone insulin is to bring the glucose into the cell. So when we have a problem of insulin resistance where our body's not using that insulin anymore, we have fatigue.
And then that's occurring then at the mitochondrial level, right? Because the glucose is not getting into the mitochondria in the cell to provide the energy in the form of ATP.
Right.
Interesting.
Well,
Very good.
for people that don't know science or the cellular structures, right, the mitochondria is inside the cell. So it's the powerhouse of the cell. It's the most important energy forming component of the cell. So any type of mitochondrial dysfunction will cause fatigue. Another reason that we find is underactive thyroid. Not necessarily clinical hypothyroidism, where they actually call euthyroidism, which is your thyroid is functioning, but you have symptoms of hypothyroidism, which means non or low thyroid. And that is probably one of the most common issues that I treat. I like people to actually be on the hyperthyroid range or have an overactive thyroid. The thyroid is in charge of several different functions in our body, but when our thyroid is not optimized, we constantly feel sluggish. We can't seem to lose weight. No matter what we do, we get depressed. But when we optimize our thyroid, our energy goes through the roof. We feel great. We feel positive. We get good results from our exercise. Our metabolism is increased. And it's just an amazing feeling when you have a great thyroid function. Another
Yes,
thing
I've
that
seen the studies. Go ahead. I'm
there's
sorry.
a lot of studies that show optimization of thyroid will improve so many different symptoms. It goes from psychological symptoms, physical symptoms, cellular symptoms, metabolic symptoms, all get improved by optimizing your thyroid. Another
So
very.
generally, most doctors don't treat that because it's considered subclinical, so they don't bother treating that. And you believe that the higher levels are best for optimal for health and feeling energized.
Exactly. I feel that a lot of doctors just look at that reference range of where you should be treated, and they actually are looking at the wrong levels when they're doing that anyway. So I really combat that a lot differently than a lot of other doctors do. Another one of the most common symptoms that we have or common reasons that we get fatigue is anemia. And anemia can have several different types of anemia that cause fatigue, but the two main ones that we talk about, iron deficiency anemia, where we have some sort of blood loss in our body, and the other one would be a megaloblastic anemia, which is a problem with your B12 and your folate. So you're getting very large red blood cells that aren't having the energy capacity that we need.
They lack the intrinsic. They need that for the intrinsic factor, I believe.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. All right. I think you've given a lot of information. I think in the future, I'd like to have a little more information about how you specifically treat these conditions, especially related to the hormonal imbalances or the lower the reference range and things like that. So you basically treat them with, let's say, hormone supplementation and dietary or medical grade supplement protocols.
I would treat them with all the above. Depending on the particular patient, usually it's a combination of those, but according to what your symptoms are and what your blood work shows, we come up with a plan that would work individually for you.
Okay, so I look forward to hearing all about that in the next video that we go.
All right, next one, Debunking BroScience, brought to you by John.
My favorite topic.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right.